Hey, welcome to Mind Your Own Biz, the podcast where we help small business owners with big dreams build something authentically you. I'm Alicia Yervis, educator, marketer, designer, nacho enthusiast, and your big sister in business. I'm excited for us to have this cozy spot to chat. Each episode, we'll tackle candid conversations, actionable tips, and a few fun tangents to help you run your business your way. Because business is always personal, no matter what anyone says. So grab your iced coffee or those nachos, and let's get started. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Mind Your Own Biz. My name is Alicia Yervis, and I'm your host. Thanks so much for being here with me today. I know this episode is coming out a little later than normal this week. That's because it was my birthday week this week. Today, or not today, what am I saying? Tuesday, July 15th, was my 43rd birthday. And if all goes well, this will be coming out on Thursday, July 17th. Normally my episodes come out on Mondays, but listen, what are you going to do? Life is lifing. My shit got delayed and it's coming out on Thursday. It is what it is. But anyways, hi. Thanks so much for being here. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that I'm wearing a tank top, which is something that I literally hardly ever do. But it is hot as hell this week. And even though during the summer, 99% of the time I am a hermit, I am staying into the air, inside with the air conditioning. It's just one of those days where despite the air conditioning, the heat is just radiating. So, hey, listen, I have a tank top on and my arms are fat and it is what it is, but I'm nice and cool. So, hey, do what you got to do. That's something that 43 has taught me. Listen, I can't come to your backyard barbecue, okay? I'm sorry. I love you. You're great. But come to me when you have a fall bonfire, a winter soup party, a spring garden party, perhaps. Even that's pushing it a little bit, if I'm being honest. Love you to death, but I can't come. I can't come to your backyard party. I'm just not built for summer. I used to love summer as a kid. Born in July, summer baby, always at the pool, still love the pool, do love the pool. But, the pool requires being outside most of the time. So it's kind of a trade-off because I could just live in the pool. And speaking of that, I had my first pool day of the summer last weekend, a little surprise pool day with my brother, my sister-in-law, and my little nephew. So that was really fun. I was in the pool for I don't even know, 4 hours solid, just floating around like a buoy, having the best time. And yeah, it's just at 43 years old, I try to just, say what I need, be direct, and say what I can and can't do. And so sure, I'll come to your backyard party if I can sit in the air conditioning all day or if I can be in your pool all day. But other than that, you got to count me out. And it's no offense to you. It's me. It's not you. But yeah, speaking up for what I need, that is fantastic. And it kind of relates to business, it's especially with what I try to, teach and preach in my business, which is you're not for everyone, and that's okay. Your content and your messaging, isn't going to correlate or, isn't going to connect with everybody, and that's okay. So, just being direct about what you stand for, what your preferences are, what you do, who you help, how you teach, all that stuff is going to help you find your people. Anyway, listen, this episode is going to be a little bit different. First of all, this is super casual. I mean, most of my episodes are pretty casual, but I do not have a script. I do not have some big lesson plan today. This is just going to be like a chat from me to you. It's going to be a good old ramble session, a good old spiral. If you have been listening, we go on tangents sometimes here. But, I think because it was my birthday week, I was just kind of thinking all right, we're kind of a little bit past the halfway point of the year. And this is episode 30, which is very exciting. I feel like it's a another little milestone for me. I started this podcast back in November. I've learned a lot. I'm actually going to do an upcoming episode all about like what I've learned from podcasting. So stay tuned for that. But I just feel like this time of year is kind of like this weird blend of like reflection, exhaustion, random energy bursts, random clarity bursts, good things, bad things. I'm sure that's just life. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. But I'm just talking it out with you guys today, just taking it one thing at a time. And I just felt like kind of sharing like where I've been, kind of like some of the things that I've been thinking about, to encourage you to do the same. Like I said, we're a little bit past the halfway point. There's still a lot of time to get a lot of stuff done this year. Or on the opposite side, maybe you've been going so strong and so crazy that now that it's a little bit past the half time of the year, maybe it's time for you to slow down and take a break. It is summer after all. I mean, I do hear that there are people out there who like the summer. What the hell is that? But anyway, so whether you need more time to, get some stuff cracking before the end of the year, or whether it's now time for you to like take a pause and slow down, either way, I encourage you to do what is best for you. So I kind of wanted to just share like, all right, what is feeling good, maybe not so good, or kind of unclear for me in my business. So I'm kind of taking you behind the scenes a little bit. So for those of you who need a refresher, my business, I do a lot of different things. I am uh, let me back up. Okay. I create websites. I create brand identity suites. So like, your branding. I help you with developing your social media content strategy. I help you with monthly marketing support. And then I have a bunch of mini services too, like helping you set up your first lead magnet. Um, excuse me, helping you with creating social media graphics. I also have one-to-one options for kind of like guidance and mentorship with me. So like I have a one-to-one thing called an Empower Hour session where you and I hop on Zoom and we talk through wherever you're stuck in your business and kind of help you get clarity by the end of the session on what your next steps are. And those are really helpful for just kind of a, drop-in session kind of thing. And then if you want to go further, I have like a month-long extension of that called VIP Voxer Month, where we start with an Empower Hour session. And then for the whole next month or for the whole, 30 days following that, you have access to me in your back pocket on Voxer. And we just have like async messaging going back and forth, talking through your obstacles, talking through your plans, brain dumps and brainstorms, all that kind of stuff. So I do that. Then I also am an educator. So I have a social media content strategy course, which is going to be opening its doors again soon this summer. I lead virtual workshops. I have a bunch of trainings and digital products and tutorials and also freebies. I have a free Facebook group. I have this podcast. So it's kind of, it's marketing, it's design, it's social media, it's education, it's resources and tools. And it's all geared towards helping women be themselves in business so that they can attract and find and attract those kindred spirit clients out there. By being their true selves in business, I believe, is how you find your people. That's what has worked for me. And I have lots of different outlets and ways that I find those people, that I connect with those people. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn. I have a email marketing process where I'm emailing twice a week. I have this podcast. I'm in a bunch of different places and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to maintain all of that and, have messaging going out. But what I keep hearing from my audience, from people on my list or, my DMs or whatever, people are always saying to me, "Oh, I always see your stuff." Like that's one of the one of the most quoted things that people have said to me. I always see your stuff. You're out there posting stuff, emailing, you're always launching an event or a product or something. I always see your stuff. You do such a good job of staying front of mind. So like that makes me happy and proud that, people see me out there. Because one of the things that is always so frustrating for me as a marketer is when I see businesses or entrepreneurs who kind of are just super quiet, staying on the sidelines. Maybe they haven't emailed their list in months or ever. Maybe they don't even have an email list. Uh, maybe they're posting on social, once a month or something. They're not having that back and forth with their community, with their audience. They're kind of just hoping someone notices them and shows up. And I have found it to be very important to keep be proactive and intentional about keeping my business visible. And so I have continued, to do that. That being said, financially, this year sucks. Let me just say it. Can I get an amen? I'm sure some of you are feeling the same way. And, listen, ever since COVID, right? Like it changed the game. Nothing is predictable anymore. I firmly believe that. I know there are people that disagree. I know there are people that are teaching you how to be wealthy and all of that stuff. I'm not wealthy, so I'm not going to claim to teach you how to do that. you know, um, all I can do is share what's going on with me and what's been working for me and what I have observed, and stuff like that. And uh, like any year, there's been ups and downs, but this year, 2025 has been tough. Now, I have been fortunate to welcome some new clients, and I'm very happy about that. I'm very grateful for that. But they have tended to be for smaller one-off projects or packages, not so much like retainer based stuff, or not like some of my larger signature packages. So like, a full uh website build, a full brand identity suite build, a full content strategy package, multi-month thing. Or yeah, like they've just kind of been these smaller one-off kind of things. Which is great, but it means I have to book so many more of them. You know what I mean? Now because things are so unpredictable in my experience, just because the first part of the year has been this way doesn't mean the second part will be. I used to tell people, especially before COVID, like my years were very predictable in terms of when I would get inquiries, inquiry for a web design project, inquiry for, hey, I need my branding done, that kind of thing. February and October were always our busiest months. And I never did some like hardcore research or data dive into why that was, but anecdotally, I felt like, okay, February is busy because no one has money in January because you're just coming out of the crazy holiday season, right? So January is like the doom and gloomies. I have no money, la la la. Then February, you're like, your ass is back in gear and you're like, okay, now I have time. I'm making a little more income and I need my website done, or I need to finally get my social media content strategy together. La la la. And then October, my thought was, okay, people are finally done with the summer and the kids are back to school and now they're ready to, get the beginning of the project going before the crazy Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year holiday arrives. And before they have no more money during the holiday season. So I always felt like February and October, I kind of could rely on them for the first few years of my business. People were super distracted during the summer, busy, especially here. Not that all of my clients are local to me here on the Jersey Shore, but many of them are. And it's the Jersey Shore. Everyone's doing shit all summer. There's concerts, there's barbecues, there's the boardwalk, there's, the beach, there's the pool, there's parks. Like everyone is busy doing stuff all summer long. So summer was a little bit of a crapshoot. It slowed down a bit. But February and October were always there for me. Well, not anymore. Not anymore. That hasn't been the case in a couple years now. It's been much more sporadic. It's been much less predictable. Also, the other piece that goes into that is as I have been building up the educational side of my business, like I said, resources, downloads, workshops, my digital course, as I was like really putting a lot of my focus into that, it only kind of makes sense that, the spotlight wasn't as prominent on some of my existing like signature services. And it took me a long time to realize that, honestly, because what I love about the educational piece is like it helps me expand and be able to help more people because instead of trading my time for money with the one-on-one services, which I also love, it's like it's moving from one-to-one to one-to-many. So education, services and products allows me to work with, many different people. But it was at a lower price point per like thing. My signature services, require more of a larger investment than my courses, my workshops, my downloads, and such. And so I haven't yet struck the balance. This is just me being totally real with you guys. I haven't yet quite struck the balance between the cadence for how and when to market those two different things because I would love to work with everybody, but I know that realistically that is not, you know, likely because as you've heard me say, you can't be everything to everyone. And if everything's bold, nothing is bold, right? So there's that. And I love the idea of being able to work people up the value ladder within my business. So for example, maybe they find me through this podcast or through an article somewhere or a post or something. They then go to my website, they download one of my freebies. Now they're on my email list, right? And then I have a welcome sequence where I'm nurturing them and telling them a bit about me and my business. And by the way, I'm going to talk about my welcome sequence on another episode, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, so I'm having them get to know me through email. They hopefully follow me on social. Maybe they join my Facebook group, la la la. Then maybe they buy a low ticket item. So maybe my $7 social media checklist, maybe my, $27 website power pack or my $77 content caboodle, whatever. Then maybe they attend a paid workshop, for 50, 60, 70 bucks. Then maybe they are like, I would love to book an Empower Hour with you. Okay, now we're into $199. Then maybe they're like, oh my God, like I really want more support. I'd love to take your social media content strategy course, which currently is priced at $397 for self-study. Then maybe they're like, I loved the back and forth coaching with you during that program. Can we do the VIP Voxer month? And that's, the next level up. And then they move up to, some of my other services and my signature services and so on. So the process of that, I love, but I haven't yet figured out, when to push more on promoting the higher, priced items versus, putting more of a focus on promoting freebies, more of a focus on promoting sort of my lower ticket educational things. Like there's lots of ways to kind of enter my universe and work with me. And I love that. And I want to be able to help people who have a wide variety of budgets because like, listen, like I just told you, I'm not wealthy, right? Like I'm protective of my cash. And I certainly was when I was starting out in business when I really had no money. And I get it, and there's such a trust recession right now. I know that's so buzzwordy and we've all heard that phrase, but it's true. Um, and so I have seen how uh, allowing people to get to know me over time through my welcome sequence, through social media posts, through my Facebook group, through uh, Empower Hour sessions and discovery calls and all these different things. I have seen how it's a dance. It's like people find you, they start to spend time with you virtually, and then you're front of mind when they're ready to book that thing or take the next step. And uh and I know that that's important. And I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed, getting to know my audience, my clients, and all of that stuff. And I realized that uh, you're not gonna like when you think about some of my signature services, some of my larger, priced items or higher priced items, like it takes time to court somebody. You're not going to walk up to someone and ask them to marry you, right? You're not going to walk up to someone and give them a big fat diamond ring. It takes courting. It takes getting to know you. And so that's, a piece of the story too, because sometimes it's a short courtship because they click with me, they vibe with me, they're ready to go. Sometimes it takes longer. Like I've shared this before, how when sometimes I'll get an inquiry form about something. I have been ghosted so many times, but I am really good at follow up. And I have resuscitated dead inquiries 2, 3, 4 years later, and they eventually become a client. Now, yes, that's more work on my part, but I know what happens, right? Like I was saying in the beginning of this episode, life is lifing, stuff falls through the cracks, you get distracted. Maybe you have a life event happen. You have financial issues, you have a health issue, who knows what happens. But so often they're like, oh my God, thank you for following up. I'm finally ready. And of course, not all of them do. Like, yes, there are people who just ghost or fall off the face of the planet, and that's okay. Um, but yeah, like follow up is so key. And sometimes they do come around. So that's another piece of like, hi, this is not predictable. So it's tough. But what is feeling good to me is the relationship that I have with my audience, with my email subscribers, with my students, with my clients, with my podcast listeners, social media followers, and such. I engagement across the board has been super low this year, really over the last couple years. Engagement is just changing. The algorithms are always changing. Social media is changing. That's again why you always hear me harping about email lists, because we cannot control social media algorithms. We do not own these platforms. We don't own our followers. But with an email list, you own your list and you always have a way to get in front of your people, regardless of some stupid algorithm. And so I have really gone all in on email, and it's been great for me. I don't like worry so much about, oh, I don't want to bother them. Oh, I don't want to send one more email. Like I do it anyway. There's always going to be unsubscribes with every email that you send. But I know for me as a consumer and buyer, I need those reminders. I need that 30-minute beforehand reminder. I need that cart close reminder, day of. So I do the same thing. But what I'm going to be trying to do for the second half of the year is doing a bit more storytelling in my emails, a bit more just, casual conversation. Still promoting my stuff, because I'm a marketer and I want people to know about my packages and my offers. And, you know, if I sound like a broken record, that's a good thing. And I say that to you too. If you sound like a broken record in your posts and your emails and all that stuff, that's a good thing. People need those reminders. So I'm going to continue to do that. But I want to do a little more about my life as a business owner, some behind the scenes stuff, and just sharing some more advice and strategy in my emails. I've found where, the emails where I ask a question or ask for feedback or an opinion, those do really well because people love to share their opinions. Um, so yeah, so I'm gonna, be doing some more of that this year with email. Um, and then, I also am in this kind of space where, well, let me continue about what feels good. So, I want to do more of the paid workshops this year. I did my first paid workshop earlier this year. It was about ChatGPT. It went really well. It was so much fun. Um, and I felt so relaxed and comfortable teaching that. And a big light bulb moment for me was that because it was a paid workshop and they had already paid to take the workshop, it wasn't like a typical free masterclass training where you're leading them through, a tutorial or, a mini class, but then at the 45-minute mark, you have to get to the pitch for your larger online course, right? That's what I've done for my social media content strategy course. I always start with a free masterclass where you can come and learn stuff and it's totally valid and fun. But at the end, I'm also going to invite you to my course. And I'll still do those. But this was my first time doing a paid workshop where there is no pitch at the end. It's just they've already paid for it. And so I'm more relaxed. I could just stretch my legs and enjoy teaching. That was a big light bulb moment for me. So I want to do a bunch more paid workshops this year. And I've decided that the next one that I'm going to do is going to be somehow related to or somehow focused on email marketing, some sort of an introduction to email marketing. And I'm still thinking through that process. I hope to announce it in the next week or two. I'm thinking it'll be late July, early August. And I would love to get to a point where I could do a paid workshop every single month. But for the moment, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm already like off my plan of that because I said that back in March. Like, I want to do one paid workshop a month. Well, it's July and I've done one. So I don't want to, overcommit, but I do want to get better at them. And do some more of them because I have so much fun and I have such a backlog of content and tutorials and trainings and all this kind of stuff that I know like the back of my hand that is just like waiting for me to teach it. And what I thought was really cool about the paid workshops is that it was very low lift for me, but also low lift for attendees, meaning, they pay 40, $50, something like that. They come on their lunch break, they hang out for an hour, they learn something and they're done. And they get a recording that they can watch later. And there's something very appealing about that, very digestible about that. So that's kind of the direction I'd like to go. Another side thought that I've had regarding this is so my signature course, the social media content strategy course, it's a 6-week course with 4 different video modules and accompanying materials. There's a private Facebook group. There's all this stuff. It's really fun. But because of how much fun I was having on the paid workshop, I now have been thinking, well, do I actually just turn my existing social media content strategy course into, like, take each of the modules and turn it into 4 paid workshops instead? So I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that would be an experiment to try at some point. But I don't think I'm quite ready to commit to that just yet, but it has got me thinking. In terms of, where I'm at, like headspace wise, like all that stuff, just being real with you, like I flip flop all the time with, okay, I should totally scale down all of my offers and just do this, these 1, 2, 3 things. Or I should retire all these products and just offer this one thing. Or I should raise my prices. I should lower my prices. I should do this. I should do that. I mean, spend an hour in my brain, okay? Like, the traffic scene in the sky in The Fifth Element? You know what I'm talking about? The taxis flying around in the air. That is my brain, okay? Or like a pinball machine. Think of a pinball machine. That is my brain. So I constantly am going back and forth. And what I keep coming back to is like checking in with myself and seeing what feels in alignment to me. And that can feel different on different days because that's just life, right? And that makes it hard to make a decision. Um, However, what I have found, particularly this year, is like taking imperfect action. So like if I launch something or if I retire something and it doesn't go well, I can change my freaking mind and put it back. You know what I mean? Like I just I don't care so much anymore about the what will they think? Like what push or what you know what judgment will I get about that? What will they think if I flip flop? What will they think if I, put this out and then cancel it or, say that I'm going to retire it and then I bring it back or, I make it smaller than it was supposed to be or I make it bigger than it was supposed to be or whatever, whatever. It's like for me, it's about flow and vibes and alignment. And I know that that is not data. Cause like I'm not an analytical data person. I am like a wildflower field with sparklies and confetti and glitter and good playlists. And it's like I've made it this far. I've always done things my own way. I was born feet first. How about that? Like that's where it started, okay? I was breech baby. I was born feet first, and I have been doing things my way ever since. And so that's kind of the whole vibe of my business and how I approach things. And I know that that may be hard for folks out there who do want that kind of rigid structure, complete plan, like step by step, like kind of thing. That's just not me. And maybe that's not you either. There's nothing wrong with people who function that way and need that. I get it. Um, but I need like loose structure. This is where the ADHD comes in. I need like intentions instead of plans. I need persistence instead of consistency. I need taking imperfect action. Done is better than perfect, all that kind of stuff, because something that someone just asked me this the other day, like, what do you, what's like you're, 8 something years into your business. What's something that you feel now or that you know now that you wish you knew or felt when you started your business? And I said, I wish that I would have cared less about every freaking thing that I was doing back in 2017 when I launched my business. Like, I cared so much about everything. And it's not to say you shouldn't care about your work. That's not what I'm talking about. You shouldn't care about your clients. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like all the behind the scenes stuff, all the, every little painstaking sentence, every little painstaking process, standard operating procedure, policy, invoice, contract, like all that stuff. And by the way, contracts are important. Invoices are important. I use them. I have them. I want you to use them and have them. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, like, every little detail, every little thing, like, I wish I cared way less because I would have, uh, you know, probably more years of my life. I would have less gray hair. I would have less wrinkles. And I would be further along. I really believe that. So, whatever, never too late to, take a new path, teach an old dog new tricks. Um, and so I do care less now. Like, I just kind of, I'll just go with it, And if I have a typo, I don't lose sleep over it. If I have to send an oops email because I forgot a link, I'll send an oops email because I forgot a link. If I, am a day late getting back to somebody, I'm a day late getting back to somebody. Like this is not life or death. And I really have just been trying to give grace to myself to be in that kind of flow state. Um, and it served me well. And so I want to keep that going. Because it's been good for my mental health, it's been good for my energy because as I've talked about in a previous episode, some days you have those days where you're on fire and you can like accomplish, the world, and then other days you're like a potato on the couch and you just have zero energy. And like it does not serve me at all to try to make fetch happen on those days where I'm like, oh, like I feel so ashamed because I'm not accomplishing today. Oh my God, it's like already 3 o'clock. Like, okay, let me try to rally. Let me try to get this email out. Let me try to like finish this, design in Canva, and let me try to get this, new digital product on sale. Let me try to announce this workshop. Like, what are you doing? Stop. The day's over. Like, nothing's going to happen in the next 2-3 hours of your day. Like, no, go put on the bear, go get a slice of pizza, sit on the couch, just accept your potato. And tomorrow's a new day. That's another lesson, as cliche as that is. Tomorrow is a new day. Let me tell you how that helps me. Like, it's one of those things that you always hear, but if you actually pause and think about it, it has been so helpful for me because it's true. It's literally true. Like, you wake up, with a different energy. You're grateful that that shitty day is in the books yesterday, and you can kind of just like approach things with a new set of eyes. And so if there's something you're working on that you are just like in the weeds on, or you're beating your head against the wall, or you're avoiding or whatever, just take the L for the day and try again tomorrow. Because the speed in which you are headed is less important than the direction. Or said another way, the direction of the direction you're heading is more important than the speed. So give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. It's okay. Thinking about some stuff that I'm proud of over the last couple months, in 2025. Like I said, I did that first paid workshop. That was a lot of fun. Getting this podcast going in a persistent way where every single week I'm releasing a new episode and I'm winging it and doing it on my own. Like, that has been really fun. And I've been so proud to have kept up with that. And the other cool thing about it is that because I have fresh content every week, it has helped me with my social media content and my email content. So they kind of all work together. And not only that, but because I do so many guest interviews on this podcast, it's been so awesome getting to know other entrepreneurs, other women in business who are out here doing it, doing things their way, figuring things out, one thing at a time, experimenting, being creative, failing, trying again, struggling together. Like, I love that because all we can do, again, is just share like what's working for us, what, maybe wasn't so hot, and just kind of help each other, support each other. I really believe in community over competition. I always have. And I'm so grateful for the folks who I have been following, since starting my business, some online educators and mentors who I follow, who are there for me virtually, like I learn from them. I get ideas from them. And just hearing them go through some of the same things I'm struggling with is so, so helpful. And so that extends to my podcast guests as well. It's been amazing growing the community of guests. And another cool thing that I didn't expect that's been awesome with the podcast is that a lot of the ladies who have been guests end up booking an Empower Hour session with me or becoming a client or a student. That wasn't my intention, but that's been an awesome little a plus on the side. So I'm really grateful for that as well. In addition to that, I am so happy to have surpassed 50 Google reviews this year. Not that I got 50 this year, but like this year, I hit number 50, and I think I'm up to like 52 or 53 now. And Google reviews are really important. They're important for local search. They're important to build your social proof. It's always more important, or I always feel like what is always going to be more impactful, um, beyond what you might say about your business, is what someone else says about your business. So if you are able to get folks to share their experience in a Google review, that's going to be awesome for your business. And if you don't have a brick and mortar, I don't know if there's still a way for you to set up Google Business if you don't have a brick and mortar. Because I do not have a brick and mortar. I'm here in a home business, but I was able to still set it up. I don't know if there's still that ability or not. You have to Google that. But there used to be a way to do it. But if you do have a brick and mortar, please sign up for Google Business. Please ask your clients, your customers to leave a review. Obviously, don't tell them what to say. Don't tell them they have to leave a positive review. Don't incentivize them. There's rules. There's rules. But start to get in the habit of asking your clients to leave you a review, or even, if they would email you a testimonial, maybe do a recommendation on LinkedIn, DM you or text you a quote, something like that you can start to share on your marketing materials, on your website, in your emails. It really helps, on your sales pages, right? And so, I was very intentional about trying to get Google reviews from the very beginning. And so it's a slow, it's a slow game, but so grateful for the folks that take the time to share their experience about working with me. And it's cool because because I do a lot of different things, I have a variety of those reviews. So some of them are service-based, where they talk about web design, marketing, content strategy. Some of them are like, I took her course, it was great. Some are like, I was a guest on her podcast, we had such a good conversation. Some are like, the Empower Hour sessions are great, she's helped me strategize. Like, all these different kind of ways that people can read the reviews and see the different ways that I can work with them. Now, some might say, well, that's unclear because it sounds like you do all these different things. Hi, have you been listening? I just said throughout this episode, I do all these different things, and I'm struggling a bit with, like, do I want to keep doing that, or do I want to rein it in a little bit? I don't know, because it's partially the ADHD thing. I like variety. Variety is the spice of life. I always have been that way. I like options. And so I don't want to be like boxed in. You know what I mean? I like to have these different ways that we can work together. But it is difficult on the marketing and messaging side with figuring out that cadence of, what to promote and when, and making sure that people know what I do. Because there are folks out there who think that I still do social media management, which I haven't done in like 5 years. That was one of the things I did in the beginning. But I haven't done that in a long time. And there's folks out there who don't know that I do websites, don't know that I have a course. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's tough, but it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress, as are we all. There's a bunch of things on my list for this year that I haven't gotten to quite yet. I have, if you were to look at my Trello board, Trello is a project management tool that I use in collaboration with Caitlin, my virtual assistant. If you were to look at my Trello board, it would be like, how do I describe this? I don't even know how to describe it. It would be like people who go to like a cake tasting and take like a little bite of each thing and don't finish it. Like, I have so many like starter ideas in my Trello board, where I just like, okay, let me just pin this idea. Let me just get this out of my brain and hold it here so I can come back to it, just so I don't let the idea dissolve in my brain and it's gone forever. And we have to mourn the death of this brilliant idea. So I have all these little like start points of all these little projects, services, products, all these things. So in a way, it's good because I have this archive and it's like, okay, like, let's pick one. Let's launch that thing. And I'm proud because I did do that this year on a couple things. I finally got out some of these new mini services that I'd had in my Trello board for like ever. like the mini Voxer or the Voxer VIP month thing that I mentioned, like the done for you lead magnet design thing that I mentioned, the complete my suite mini branding package that I mentioned. These were all things that existed in Trello as a breadcrumb idea for like 2 or 3 years before I finally launched them. So yes, I am, moving forward. I am putting things out there. But for if I had a nickel for everyone that's still sitting in Trello just waiting to be born, I mean, forget it. But then I come back to, well, then you're just adding to the chaos and confusion. Like you need to rein it in, you need to do less. And then, the other side of my brain is like, no, more is more. Oh, you guys, I'm just sharing. Okay. I'm just sharing where I'm at, the internal struggles. Uh, so there are a bunch of those things. And then, like I said, some upcoming paid workshops I want to do. Um, and then I have like behind the scenes stuff, so many behind the scenes things that I want to get going. I need to revisit my welcome sequence in my email. I want to revisit my podcast guest onboarding process. I want to revisit my client onboarding welcome kit process. I need to refresh my website in the worst way. And this is like an instance of the cobbler's kids have no shoes. Like, hello, I do websites. Don't look at my website though. How many of you out there can relate to that, right? Like, my website's fine. Like, it's served me well. Like, I'm happy with it. But my most up-to-date stuff is not on there. My most up-to-date messaging is not on there. I just need to really, really get my shit together there. So that is something that is a high priority for me before the end of the year. We'll have to come back to that, see how I do. uh, and also, I have to say this. This is something that, like, I always encourage folks, like, okay, let me back up. You are the face of your brand, right? Like, you are your brand. And when you are yourself and you're posting as yourself, you're writing, emails as yourself, you're just sharing your heart, you're sharing the real you. People see that. And that helps combat that trust recession that I talked about earlier. And something that I have found is you do not need to be on, quote unquote, on all the time. Like, I am fully giving you permission to like demask. We all know about masking, right? uh, and you don't have to be just, this persona. You can just be Alicia. I'm talking to myself right now. And if you're having a shit day or you're having a shit week, month, year, whatever, like I see no value in just keeping your nose to the grindstone and just pushing forward. I do see the value in being persistent. I do see the value in having hope and not giving up and, stretching outside of your comfort zone. I do. But I don't see the value in pushing down and masking and covering up and denial. Like, one of the most helpful things that I've learned in therapy is that two things can be true at the same time. We do not live in this black and white world. We live in the gray. I've talked about this before. And so I am totally fine with, like, for example, I got some emails this week. Some of my peers and colleagues knew it was my birthday. They sent me, nice emails or DMs. That was so appreciative and very kind of them. And, several of them asked me, like, what's going on with you? How's the summer going? Whatever. I told them the truth. I told them, like, oh God, like, this has been a really hard year. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but like I do, but like I don't. I know that a lot of you can relate to that statement, right? I know what I want to do next, but also I'm not sure. I'm waiting, I'm thinking. Um, I have all the ideas, but none of the energy. Um, and I just have a lot of uncertainty. I have a lot of disappointment because I'm not where I want to be. I'm someone whose brain is always living in the future, like for better or worse. And in the ways that it's better is because like I can envision my future or envision a result of something or envision a an outcome, a result. And that is motivating, but it keeps me from being present. And that sucks because on the one hand, it's like you're missing what's going on in the present. And it also, um, it pulls your focus. And so when I was talking earlier about like tomorrow's a new day, um, that is a moment where it's kind of a mix of both things because it's saying, hey, the future is going to be better or different. But it's also saying, hey, I know this moment sucks. Let's acknowledge it and be present and know that it's going to get better. So that's a instance of two things being true at the same time. And that has been just really helpful for me because we all have the days, right, where we're crying into our nachos. Um, we haven't showered in 2 days and we hate everybody and you scream because you're trying to make a braid in your hair and it doesn't work and you're you're completely irrational. Um and you know what? Just accept it. Let's move through it. Let's get through it. Tomorrow's a new day. Um and so that has been super helpful for me to remember. It's just that you don't have to pretend everything. It's okay to not be okay. There we go. You know, it's okay to share that. I know that that's not everyone's comfort level. I understand, many folks are just not uh, able or willing to go there and share that stuff. And that's okay. I'm just sharing me. And what has been helpful for me internally, helpful for me with my mental health, with my energy, with my business. Uh, and having those moments where I share the happies and the crappies um has been awesome for getting to know people, for growing my community, for engagement. And on a selfish note has been awesome for people sending inquiries, like I really like what you said in that episode, or I love your social media, like I really relate to blah 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 blah. I would love to work together. That's what it's all about, right? So that's a little bit about headspace and mindset and all of that stuff. Um, Something that I know for sure is I open my business to help other business owners. Um, and the way that I help them has changed and morphed and grown over the years. But something that I know is that I still want to do that. I still want to help business owners. I love working with female solopreneurs who are kind, free-spirited, open-minded, who are passionate about what they do and who they serve, and just need help getting it together and showing it to the world. Like, I love to help them understand what they've got going for them, help them get a little organized, help them, you know, dip their toe into the pool timidly with sharing that message with the world because people need you. They need you, your services, your talents, your expertise. And I know that there's a lot of fear out there about imposter syndrome or, oh, well, you know, like I was gonna open a taco truck in my town, but like there's already a taco truck in my town. Okay, good for them. Excuse me. More tacos the merrier, number one. Number two, no one is going to make or serve or sell tacos like only you can. You've got your secret herbs and spices, you've got your secret sauces, right? And community over competition. And so whether you're a coach, a designer, a writer, a salon owner, a caterer, a landscaper, a florist, a dog walker, an acupuncturist, whatever. No one is going to tell or sell or do the way that only you can because we are all unique. And so you need to bring your unique energy and personality into your business. That has served me without fail for the 8+ years I've been in business. I can't tell you how many times people are like, you had me at nachos. You've heard me say this before. I have in my Instagram bio and on my website that I'm a marketer, designer, educator, nacho enthusiast. People love that shit. It has booked me clients. It has gotten me students, email subscribers, followers, etc. But also not just that. They're like, oh, I love you had the 80s playlist on your website, or I just love your branding. It's so hot pink and fun. It stands out. It's not the typical. I love that you just put it out there. You don't have these like polished, brand photos out there, whatever. Like I told you in the beginning of this video or this podcast, like I got my flabby arm showing today, people. Whatever. I'm just over it at this point. Maybe that's 43. Maybe that's, being in business for 8 years. I just don't care. It's hot as hell. Um, it's like 90 something degrees today. But anyway, like people want the real you. And people who don't like the real you are not your people. Like we talk about wanting to attract the people we want to work with, right? The clients and projects that light us up. But don't forget that what you put out there and your messaging, your branding, your marketing, your videos, whatever, like the content and messaging you put out there should also repel the people you don't want to work with. So if there are people out there who are giving you a hard time or who don't relate or don't agree with your stance or your take or your style, your vibe, your pricing, your whatever, like, okay, that's fine. Best of luck to you. They're not your people. You don't need to square peg round hole your clients, your students, your pricing, your packages, your business. Be in flow state. Be in alignment. Spend some time checking in with you and knowing that when you bring your true self into your business, everything is going to feel so much more comfortable, easier, exciting, and you'll feel more connected to everything that you do and offer. So I wanted to share that with you too. What else can I say? Oh, this should have gone in the other section, but oh well. I told you about my ping pong machine or pinball machine brain. One other little thing. So, I quickly cobbled together a 4th of July virtual sidewalk sale, that ran earlier this month. And originally I was running it for 4 days and I wasn't seeing really any results or any sales for like the first 3 days. And so I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to run it for I was going to say a year. No, not a year. I'll just run it for a week. So I extended it to be a week-long celebration instead. And I had super deep discounts on a bunch of digital products, mini services, and different things. And when all was said and done, I added an extra $1,000 to my income for the month. So I was happy with that. Of course, like, yeah, listen, I'm never satisfied. I always want more. So there's that. But that's a me problem. That's not a you problem. So yeah, bottom line, I was really happy with that because It took a little bit of work to pull it together, but now I have the infrastructure set up, so it'll be easier for me to offer those kind of one-off sales here and there. So that's a cool way to do like a quick cash injection for your business if you have the type of business where you can do something like that. Digital products, courses, flash sale on services or whatever. So that was very fun. And I was happy to do that and welcome in some new clients that way. Then, because it was my birthday earlier this week, I was like, okay, let's do like a 1 day flash sale of like 4 items. Now, on the one hand, I'm thinking, well, I just did a sale like the week before. I don't want to train people to think that my stuff is always going to be on sale, so that's a thing too. But then I was like, whatever, I'm overthinking this. Just do it. Remember how I said before, like, just take action? So I'm like, okay, birthday sale, 1 day only, these 4 things, whatever. 0 sales. 0. So hey, it happens, but it's okay. Like I said, I have that infrastructure set up. So maybe I'll do something in August or Labor Day or local summer or Halloween. I can do this a couple times a year. And that's a fun way to make some sales. So, that's an idea as well. And then tied into that, I am part of, an email membership, which I'm going to be talking about next week. Liz Wilcox, email marketing membership. It's fantastic, and very affordable. And I'm also a member of, Zach Spuckler's, Facebook ads membership. And I have been dragging my feet on getting through, the initial trainings in that group. So I'm disappointed in myself because, like I was telling you earlier, like sometimes I just don't have the energy. I have a potato day, right? It's like, okay, but on a potato day, could I also be like getting through some of these trainings? Can I be more productive while I rest? That's the paradox, right? But anyway, just being real with you of, stuff that is still on my plate that I want to get through that I am not getting through yet, but I will, because they're both great programs and I'm getting a lot of value out of them, even though I'm not fully participating in the way that I want to quite yet. Also, sidebar, I am thinking about a membership for me in the future. That's something that I've been thinking about for a long, long time. And right now it's just a thought. It's just a breadcrumb of a thought, but it's definitely something that's on my radar. So I'll keep you posted on that. What else can I talk to you about here? Oh, so, one thing, just to stay tuned for this idea, something fun I'm working on. So soon I'm going to be opening a way for you to send in listener questions to me. You'll be able to submit anonymously, or you can include your name if you want. And I'm going to start answering them in future episodes. I saw someone else doing that, and I thought it was a really cool, interactive way to, engage my community. And so yeah, I'm going to be doing that. And I think that'll be fun because I hate the word coach and coaching because I don't really consider myself that. But I guess what I do is that with some of what I do. Like when I am doing an Empower Hour session with someone or, like the Voxer VIP month, the one-to-one mentorship, like I love working with women who are like, maybe they have a hot seat question or, like with my social media content strategy course, I have a VIP level where we do have group coaching every week. And it's time for us to all spend time together each week on Zoom. And people can ask questions and I will literally answer your questions as best to my ability, live on Zoom. I love doing that. I love just like talking through ideas and solutions and, brainstorming on things to try or coming up with fun ideas for stuff. Like that's one of my most favorite things. And it's one of the things people constantly come to me for and tell me that I'm good at. And, so I hesitate to call myself a coach but I do enjoy helping you figure stuff out, helping you with ideas, helping you with advice. So I wanted to introduce that new element to this podcast. So if you've got a burning question about branding, business, social media content, mindset, really like anything, whatever. So stay tuned. I will make sure to announce that. And I'm excited to incorporate that. Um, what else can I talk about? I think that might be it. This, like I said, this was not planned out. This was like a rambly, curly Q kind of chat of just like looking back at the first half of the year, um, and seeing where I'm at, seeing what's working, what's not, what sucks, what's good, all that kind of thing. Um, and the only other thing that I will mention, and I have to give credit to one of my past um, podcast guests, Kay Potter. Kay, if you are listening, you're awesome. I will link her episode in the show notes. But she is an artist, and we had a great conversation in our episode about like she uses ChatGPT a lot as well, and you guys have heard me talk all the time about ChatGPT. I love it so much. Um, and we use it in, kind of creative ways, not the usual. But anyway, in episode 25 of this podcast, one of the things that Kay told me was that she introduced a she started in her ChatGPT account a joy log, where basically in the chat she loads in all the good things that happened that week. Like every day, she'll visit it and add like this great thing happened, or I got this great review this week, or this breakthrough happened, or I got this new customer, or I went out to dinner to this, awesome new restaurant, or I pet puppies today and it was so much fun. Whatever the things are, big or small, business or not, she loads them into this chat. And then at the end of every week, it summarizes it for her and it gives her a little report. And I just loved that idea so much. So I've been doing it ever since. And in my ChatGPT account, it's called my good things log. And I've been doing it now for, I'm not sure how many weeks, 8 weeks, maybe, I don't know. But, I'm intentional about visiting it every day or so and putting in good things that happened. Again, big or small, business or not. And when it gives me the summary every Monday, it's so helpful because you know how it is. The negative stuff is often the loudest stuff in our brain, right? Well, when you're taking a minute in the moment to put your good little fireflies into this log, and then on Monday, chat gives you this jar of fireflies. It's so helpful. It makes things feel lighter, more positive. It helps give equal playing time in your brain to the positive things, to the happy things, to the little moments that bring you joy. And so I just say that to you. Try a joy log in ChatGPT. Or if you don't want to use ChatGPT, that's fine. Have a little notebook on your desk or a notes note in your iPhone. Load it up. And then set an alarm that every Monday, read your joy log from the previous week. And I know it's going to do wonders for your self-esteem, for your mood, for your life. So I invite you to join me on that. Okay. So I think that is all for today's episode. Thank you again so much for being here and listening to my very long tangent. uh, and hanging out with me. I love hanging out with you guys. By the way, if you have enjoyed this episode or you enjoy my podcast in general, please consider subscribing, rating, or reviewing. If you're listening on Spotify, please give me a rating. That would be fantastic. You can follow the show there. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please consider subscribing, leaving a rating or a review. They really help the show so much. And I would be so, so grateful if you'd be willing to do that. I know everyone asks for those, but like I really mean it, okay? Um, so if you have a second, that would be so fantastic. So the next episode will probably be more planned, or maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? But I also want to remind you, you can grab a bunch of my freebies at aliciayurvis.com/freebies. Come find me there, hang out. You can find me on Instagram at Alicia Yervis Creative. And yeah, stick around. There's going to be some fun stuff coming up. And I also want to close with this. I may actually put this online, so stay tuned. If you are feeling a little burnt out, if you're feeling a little, like 2025 is not your friend thus far, and you're feeling discouraged, and just like meh, maybe you've been having a potato year. I want you to check in with yourself. And if you feel like you want this business to keep going and you don't want to give up, and you're in it for the long haul, you want to see where this goes, I want to invite you to take a pledge with me to not give up on your business. And it doesn't mean you have to be this overachiever. It doesn't mean you have to be this, hyper accomplishing person. It just means that you take steps forward to keep it moving. Just keep moving forward with intention. Don't give up, if that is what you want to do. So if you're still feeling passionate about your work, about your clients, if you still believe in yourself and your business, if you want to reach that future, like what I was talking about, if you want to get there with me, take a pledge to not give up on your business. Let's finish out 2025. Let's reach for our dreams, as corny as that may sound, and let's do it together. All right? So I might actually make a pledge on my site and have you join me with that. Maybe I'll check in with you. I like that idea. I think I'm going to do that. I don't know the details yet. I'm going to figure it out because that's what I do. Right? I just decide something and I slap something together and, put it out there. So stay tuned. Get on my email list. Follow me on social. I'll keep you posted on that. But I'm pledging to keep going with my business. And I'm not promising to be some wealthy coach that is going to teach you how to be wealthy and all of that stuff, because I'm not wealthy. But I love what I do and I love who I work with. And I'm so proud of the results that I've had thus far and those wonderful Google reviews and the recommendations, from others, so people who refer me. That's priceless to me. So I really, really am excited for what's ahead. And thank you so much for listening. And if you want to work together, let me know. I would love to collab. All right, my friend. I will talk with you soon. Bye.